Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Ipshita Bansal from BPS Women's University, Sonipat, Haryana. Today we are going to talk on the module Context of Strategic HRM from the paper Strategic HRM. After completing this module, the students will be able to understand the linkages between HRM and technology, the context of strategic HRM, the viewpoints on strategic HRM, and the different types of strategic fit. The evolving role of HR indicates that it is the company's workforce that provides the competitive advantage for the company. With changes in the technology and globalization, the HR's role is shifting from protector and screener to strategic partner and change agent. Strategic human resource management refers to improving business performance through developing an organizational culture that supports and encourages the innovation and flexibility by linking HRM with the strategic goals and objectives of the company. Human resource management practitioners use strategic human resource management terminology to emphasize that the effective use of SHRM practices contribute to business growth and effectiveness. The field today generally defines strategic HRM scholarship as the study of sets of HRM elements and their interrelationships with other elements comprising an organizational system, including elements in the organizational internal and external environment, as well as the multiple stakeholders who evaluate the organization's effectiveness and determines its long-term survival. There are three essential constructs HRM systems include. First, HRM philosophies, formal policies and specific practices, which are the routine practices of human resource philosophies and policies. Second is HRM partnerships, and third, multiple stakeholders. Strategic HRM practitioners view organizations as complex systems of interrelated elements, such that each element influences the system's functioning and is affected by at least one other element in the system. Strategic HRM acknowledges the multi-level nature of management systems as well as interrelationships between the HRM systems and other elements of an organization. Technology is strategically changing HR in three ways. First, basic HR systems. Most companies have computerized their individual HR tasks, which have implications on human resource management. Second, human resource information systems refers to interrelated HR systems working together to support various human resource management activities. And third, HR and Internet. The Internet has enabled HR departments to shift some activities to specialized online HR service providers. The HRNet feature shows how the Internet can be used to put some HR services online with the use of HR portals so that HR managers can focus on more strategic issues. Strategic human resource management is a complex process which is constantly evolving and being studied and discussed by academics and commentators. Strategic HRM is an area that continues to evoke a lot of debate as to what it actually embraces. According to Legnick Hall, strategic HRM integrates human resource requirements with other physical, financial, and technological resources in the setting of goals and solving complex organizational problems. Jackson and Scullum states that strategic HRM also advocates the implementation of a set of policies and practices that will build employee pool of skills, knowledge and ability which are important for achieving organizational goals. The expectation from the area of strategic human resource management is still being debated as to what actually it can provide to the organizations. In some context, it is defined as the human resource system that is tailored to the demands of the business strategy, where it is implied that it is reactive management field in which human resource management becomes a tool to implement strategy. Wright and McMahon states that strategic human resource management is the pattern of planned human resource activities intended to enable an organization to achieve its goal, which supports a proactive function in which human resources activities actually create and shape the business strategy. The difference in the two concepts is only in the implications of the two. Strategic HRM can be regarded as a general approach to the strategic management of human resources in accordance with the intentions of the organization and the future direction it wants to take. So, what is the importance of SHRM? When strategic word is added to HRM, it puts an emphasis on the ways in which HRM contributes to the organizational effectiveness in realizing organization's strategic intents. It provides direction to the organization so that both the business needs as well as individual and collective needs of its workforce are met. This is achieved by developing and implementing HR practices that are strategically aligned with business strategies. Strategic HRM is practiced only in those organizations that have a clearly articulated corporate or business strategies. Here we see the competing approaches and models of strategic human resource management. There are four types of approaches or models. Fit perspective, which relates to human resources to be integrated with strategic planning. Functional perspective, which relates to each functional area as optimizing performance with respect to business strategy. Economic perspective, to use HR as distinguishable source of competitive advantage. And lastly, typological perspective, which use three distinct HR strategies of inducement, investment and involvement. This diagram shows different strategies. First is inducement strategy, which support highly competitive business environment, focus on cost and high performance. Second is investment strategy, which focuses on quality, differentiation and service. Third is participation or involvement strategy, which focuses on providing autonomy, challenge and opportunities for participation with suitable reward system. With respect to strategic human resource perspective, there can be three categories of management. High performance management, it aims to make an impact on the performance of the firm through its people in such areas as productivity, quality, levels of customer service, growth, profits, and ultimately the delivery of increased shareholder value. High performance management practices include rigorous recruitment and selection procedures, widespread, significant training and management development activities, incentive pay systems, and performance management processes. Let's understand the characteristics of high performance management. High performance management have formal systems for sharing information with the individuals who work in the organization. There is explicit job design for clarity. There is high level of participation by all concerned, and there is continuous monitoring of attitudes. Performance appraisals along with properly functioning grievance procedures are in place. And lastly, promotion and compensation schemes that provide for the recognition and rewarding of high performance employees are present. Second category of management is high commitment management. One of the defining characteristics of HRM is its emphasis on the importance of enhancing mutual commitment. High commitment management has been described by Wood as a form of management which is aimed at eliciting commitment so that behavior is primarily self-regulated rather than controlled by sanctions and pressures external to the individual, and relations within the organization are based on high levels of trust. Let's now understand the characteristics of high commitment management. Here, there is development of career leaders and emphasis on trainability and commitment as highly valued characteristics of employees at all levels in the organization. Also, there is high level of functional flexibility with the abandonment of rigid job descriptions. There is reduction of hierarchies in the structure and heavy reliance on team structure for disseminating information. In high commitment management systems, designing of jobs is such that the people have considerable level of intrinsic satisfaction. There is policy of no compulsory layoffs and permanent employment guarantees with the possible use of temporary workers to cushion fluctuations in the demand for labor. Lastly, the pay is based on merit, there is profit sharing and a high involvement of employees in the management of quality. Third category of management is high involvement management. This approach involves treating employees as partners in the organizations whose interests are valued and who have a voice on matters that concern them. It is concerned with communication and involvement. The aim is to create a climate in which a continuing interaction between managers and members takes place in order to define expectations and share information on the organization's mission, values, and objectives. This establishes an environment conducive to mutual understanding of what is to be achieved and a framework for managing and developing people to ensure that it will be achieved. Students, let's now understand the concept of strategic fit. HR strategy should be an integral part of the business strategy, contributing to the business planning process as it happens. The two types of fit are vertical fit and horizontal fit. Vertical integration is necessary to provide congruence between business and human resource strategy so that the latter supports the accomplishment of the former and indeed helps to define it. Horizontal integration with other aspects of the HR strategy is required so that its different elements fit together. The aim is to achieve a coherent approach to managing people in which the various practices are mutually supportive. Let's now understand the various types of strategic fits or various approaches of strategic fits. First is the strategic fit approach, also called as external fit or vertical integration with business strategies. HR strategies should match stages of development of company, that is, need for different types of people as well as diverse approaches towards investment in human capital. The aim is to achieve a coherent approach to managing people in which the various practices are mutually supportive. Second is fit as contingency or best fit approach. HR approaches to ensure that internal practices of organization respond to external factors like market, skill availability as per contingency of situation. The unfounded belief that there is a set of best HRM practices and that adopting them will lead to superior organizational performance. Next is fit as an ideal set of practices, that is best practice approach. Identifying any organization as benchmark which has reputation for excellence and copying its practices. The belief that there can be no universal prescriptions for HRM policies and practices, it is all contingent on the organization context and culture and its business strategy. Best fit is better than best practice. Fourth is fit as bundles, that is bundling approach. Development and implementation of several HR practices together so that they are interrelated and internally consistent. Each HR practice reinforces and complements the other, also termed as internal fit or horizontal integration. Bundling is the belief that improved organizational performance will be achieved by developing interrelated HR practices which, when they are linked together, will function more effectively by complementing and supporting one another if they existed as separate entities. Let's now understand the 5 P's model of strategic human resource management. The first P is philosophy. It has statements of how the organization values and treats employees, essentially the culture of the organization which is prevalent. Second P is policies, which are shared values and guidelines for action on employee related business issues. Third P is programs, coordinated and strategized approaches to start, distribute and maintain strategic organizational change efforts necessitated by strategic business needs. The fourth P is practices, practices that motivate behaviors that allows individuals to assume roles constant with the organization's strategic objectives. Fifth P is processes, the scale of involvement by employees in a specific activity to facilitate the formulation and completion of other activities. Let's now consider the views on SHRM. Let's now consider the several views expressed by various theoreticians from time to time on strategic human resource management. First is people are strategic resource. In human resource management discipline, every author agrees that people of the organization should be viewed as not only resource, asset or capital, but also as a human being or social resource, asset or capital. Second view is planning process. Strategic HRM is a planning process. For the purpose of this linkage, it is necessary to formulate a long run plan, and this planning process continues until final implementation and feedback are completed. Third is competitive advantage. The objective of SHRM is to create competitive advantage for the organization. The concept "our people make a difference" is the outcome which illustrates that HRM is a crucial part of organizational success. Let's now consider the consolidation of different viewpoints. It presents a comparative chart of 4 approaches. So let's now discuss in some detail consolidation of different viewpoints. It presents a comparative chart of 4 approaches: strategy focused, decision focused, content focused, and implementation focused. Let's now understand in some detail the viewpoint of strategy focused. HRM by its very nature is strategic. The elements of HRM such as recruitment and selection or compensation do not operate in isolation, but are derivatives of the requirement of the strategy that an organization employs. Strategic planning dictates HRM planning. Second viewpoint is decision focused. It talks about that HR decisions taken and functions performed are at the strategic management level are called strategic human resource management. The managerial and operational management level activities that deal with medium and short term HR functions do not come under strategic HRM. Rather, these are functional HRM activities. The strategic management level decisions are directed to achieve strategic goals. Next, we come to the content focused. In the content focused approach, the functional aspects of HRM elements can also be blended with the organization's strategy, which leads to the emergence of SHRM. The next viewpoint is that of implementation focused strategic HRM. Here, the organizations have some competitive objectives that are achieved by some business strategies. In order to implement these business strategies, appropriate types of HRM systems are required. Such HRM systems are strategic in nature. This approach can be termed as strategic human resource management. So students, let's now understand the steps involved in strategic human resource management. Human resource management as a specialist function evolved from very small beginnings. To be effective, a human resource management strategy should be formulated after considering an organization's environment, mission and objectives, strategies and internal strengths and weaknesses, including its culture. Typically, the strategy formulation and implementation process consists of the 6 steps outlined below. The first step is environmental analysis. On continuous monitoring of economic, social and labor market trends and their evident changes in government policies, legislation, and public policy assertion, a human resource manager will be able to identify environmental threats and opportunities that in turn help formulate new action guidelines. Second step is organizational mission and goal analysis. An organizational analysis involving a close look at organization's overall mission and goals is a second integral aspect of identifying human resource strategies. Even similar organizations regularly pursue different goals. However, some goals such as profitability or revenue surplus, organizational growth, employee satisfaction, efficiency, adaptiveness to our environmental change may be same or different. Step 3. Analysis of organizational strengths and culture. Human resource strategies ought to be framed simply after a watchful take on the qualities and shortcomings of an organization concerned and its culture. Similarly, hierarchical organizational strategies that can't be based on existing human asset capacities ought to be evaded, unless it is conceivable to evacuate these inefficiencies promptly, either through preparing or determination of workers. Fourth step is analysis of organizational strategies. A firm can choose from at least 3 major generic strategies: cost leadership, differentiation, or focus. Product differentiation strategy focuses on creating a unique product that has innovative design or other feature. This may be accomplished through product design, unique technology, or even through carefully planned advertising and promotion. Organizations that use this strategy may even be able to charge higher than non-monetary value for their products. Fifth step is choice and implementation of human resource strategies. Given the company's objectives, strategies, and constraints, the human resource manager should examine each strategic option for its feasibility. Inappropriate strategic options must be dropped from consideration. The ones that appear viable should be scrutinized in detail for their advantages and weaknesses before being accepted for implementations. Step 6 is review and evaluation. Human resource strategy strategizes, however effective they prove to be, must be examined periodically. An organization's contextual factors such as technology, environments, government policies, and so on change continuously. So do several of its internal factors such as membership characteristics, role definitions, and internal procedures. All these changes demand periodic strategy evaluation to guarantee their continued improvement. Strategic choice and implementation involves an examination of the entire management philosophy. So students, let's now understand what we studied in this module. In this module, we talked about the linkages between human resource management and technology, the approaches and models of strategic HRM, and the concept of strategic fit. We also discussed the working of strategic HRM in the context of high performance management, high commitment management, and high involvement management. We also understood different views on strategic HRM, which are consolidated under 4 groups, wherein strategic HRM is seen to be either strategy focused, decision focused, content focused, or implementation focused. The main objectives of strategic HRM, which arises as a natural corollary to the definition of SHRM, is creating and sustaining competitive